The security guard smiled when I asked a simple question. Not the polite smile people give strangers. This one was knowing. He leaned against the metal gate, flipping through the visitor log. Then he chuckled. "Ah," he said quietly. "You must be the husband." My stomach tightened. I hadn't said I was. He tapped the page with a gloved finger. "Funny thing," he continued, eyes glinting under the security light. "She comes here twice a month. My wife, twice a month. Regular. Predictable." The guard lowered his voice like he was sharing gossip over cheap whiskey. "We have a nickname for them." I didn't ask. I already knew I wouldn't like the answer. He grinned wider. "The Wednesday couple." The words landed softly. But something inside my chest cracked like thin ice. Behind the gate stood a modest apartment building. Gray walls, clean windows, a place designed to look invisible. My wife had told me she worked late on Wednesdays. Team meetings, project deadlines. Sometimes she'd come home smelling like a different perfume. I had believed it was someone else's in the office. I nodded slowly, like a man hearing ordinary weather news. "Thank you," I said. The guard watched me carefully. "You didn't know?" I smiled. A calm, thin smile. "Oh," I said quietly. "I'm just getting started." The first lie wasn't the affair. The first lie was the routine. Twice a month. Regular. Precise. People who cheat randomly feel guilt. People who schedule it feel entitlement. At home, nothing changed. She still kissed my cheek when she entered. Still asked about my day. Still called me honey in that practiced voice. Our 2 children ran toward her. Dark hair. Brown eyes. Her eyes. I watched them play on the living room floor. Something small and cold began forming in my mind. Not rage. Calculation. The guard's voice replayed again. Wednesday couple. I opened my laptop later that night. Phone records first. Wednesdays. Every second and fourth week. A number appeared repeatedly. A burner phone. Careful, but not careful enough. Then came the photos. A private investigator I hired the next morning sent them 3 weeks later. My wife stepping out of a taxi, smiling. Walking straight into that building. Another photo. A man opening the door. Tall, blonde. Laughing as he pulled her inside. The timestamps matched perfectly. Every second and fourth Wednesday. Routine. Comfortable. Like brushing teeth. But the final photograph stayed on my screen longer than the rest. Her hand resting on his chest. The kind of touch that belongs to someone who thinks they own the moment. Not someone stealing it. I leaned back in my chair. My house was silent. Upstairs, my children slept. I stared at their school photos on the wall. Then a thought surfaced. Slow. Uninvited. But logical. The next morning, I scheduled 3 appointments. DNA tests. Quiet ones. Private labs ask fewer questions. Waiting for truth is a strange thing. You already feel it breathing behind your neck, but you still pretend it might not exist. The tests took 11 days. During those 11 days, I watched everything. My wife's routines, her smiles, her casual lies. Late meeting tonight? Wednesday. Of course. I nodded as if it meant nothing. Inside, I memorized every detail of her face, the curve of her smile, the way she avoided my eyes when she lied. Meanwhile, the investigator kept working. More photos, more patterns. The man's name eventually surfaced. Daniel Weber, freelance architect, single, living in that same gray apartment building. I visited the street twice. Just watching, no confrontation. Not yet. One evening, the guard recognized me. He gave a sympathetic shrug. "Still Wednesday," he said. I nodded. Still Wednesday. Then something unexpected happened. The investigator delivered one last file, a short note attached. Neighbors confirmed they've been meeting for over 11 years. 11 years. My son was 10. My daughter was 8. Silence filled the car. Cold silence. I didn't scream. Didn't punch the steering wheel. I simply exhaled. Because now there was only one remaining question, and the lab envelope would answer it. The envelope arrived on a Monday morning. White, thin, unremarkable. I opened it at the kitchen table while the house was empty. 3 pages, 3 names, 3 results. I read them slowly. Once, twice, then a third time. The numbers didn't change. Probability of paternity, 0%. For both children, 0. The room felt strangely calm. Not painful, just quiet. like a theater after the audience leaves. That evening, she returned home smiling. Dinner smelled like garlic and basil. The children laughed upstairs. I placed the envelope on the table between us. She frowned slightly. "What's this?" "Open it." She skimmed the first page, then the second. Her face drained. Her lips parted, but no words came. Only air. I watched her carefully. A scientist observing a reaction. "You tested them?" she whispered. "Yes." Tears instantly filled her eyes. "You don't understand." I raised one finger. "Silence." She obeyed. "Fear does that. I only have one question," I said calmly. Her hands trembled. "Daniel?" I asked softly. She collapsed into the chair, crying, broken. The answer had already been written in ink. But betrayal wasn't the final insult. Greed was. 2 weeks later, my phone rang. My daughter-in-law's voice exploded through the speaker. "If you want to join Thanksgiving," she snapped, "come wash the dishes." I blinked slowly. My own son had clearly been talking about inheritance, about money, about the house. I smiled faintly. "Enjoy dinner," I replied. Then I hung up. That same evening, I posted a photograph online. A balcony view of snow-covered mountains. My new home. A quiet luxury villa in Switzerland. Glass walls. Private lake. Silence. The caption was simple. Freedom. Within an hour, my phone started vibrating. Once. Twice. 10 times. 71 calls in total. My son. My daughter-in-law. My ex-wife. Even unknown numbers. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I sent one message to my lawyer. Divorce finalized. Trust funds canceled. Inheritance redirected to charities. Then I blocked every number. Greed had expected a corpse. Instead, it found a ghost. Snow falls differently in Switzerland. Quiet. Clean. Honest. No lies in snow. I sat on the balcony with a glass of whiskey and watched the mountains fade into evening. Some people imagine revenge as shouting, breaking things, destroying lives loudly. But real revenge is quieter. It's subtraction, removing yourself so completely that the betrayer is left staring at an empty chair. My children weren't mine. My wife never had been. And the family that waited for my money never understood the one thing I valued most. Control. Now they can call forever, knock on doors that will never open. Search for a man who no longer exists in their world. I took another sip of whiskey, and for the first time in years, I felt nothing at all, which in the end was exactly the victory I wanted.